Hi, Tim Sales here. And as you can see, I went to scribbling on a board. I was getting some stuff out of my head having to do with comfort and resistance. Okay, so there is two different sides to this. And comfort causes a person not to want to change, right? And because they're afraid of this resistance. And so I just kind of broke everything down as to why it happens. And my videographer came in to my office. I have this, a Jamboard like this in my office. And he came in and I ran him through and he's like, wow, you were busy. And so it really is my experience having to do with network marketing and training a lot of people and their resistance to change because of comfort. I'll just remind you that there were, in my first 7 years, 57 millionaires on my team. And so I've seen a lot of people go through this experience, and I want you to see it. All right, in this series of videos, what I'm really talking about is I'm trying to get people to the pipeline. The pipeline is where the money is made. This is the money that is every single company begs for people to be able to do this. Affiliate marketing has to do this. Real estate has to do this. Everything has to do this in order for money to be made. All right. So the pipeline is everything. So I'm in this section here and it's called, I built a bridge to this pipeline because some people have already done this bridge in other kinds of businesses and can jump right in. All right, and so we're carving out the space so you can get focused and productive. That's this step, okay? So carve out the space to be productive. All right, so what we're really doing here is that I went through these videos already, and the last one was the doctor's study on emotional cycle of change. Now is how to overcome resistance in network marketing, okay? So that's really what I'm doing. And here we go. Okay, so my brainstorm happened because I was trying to most help people. And so I just kind of went through the whole experience and I started out here and then I went backwards. That's the way this thing happened. Now, I'm going to have my videographer come in tight, and I'm also going to have, when he's in post-production, editing, he will bring up the sections that I'm talking about so you'll be able to see what it is. All right? So your 10-year vision, that is the motor. That's the fuel. That's everything. It's the only thing that'll pull a person through the resistance. Okay? And that is a big deal. So people think it's fluff, but it's not fluff. Right? The people who call it fluff probably don't have a vision that motivates them. Okay, so then you drop back on your vision, 5 year, 1 year, 3, third quarter, second quarter, first quarter, the week, today, yesterday, and your beginning, all the way as far back as you view that is, okay? So here the person sits, so I'm just going to sit right here for just a few minutes. So a person sits between looking at comfort versus looking at resistance, and their resistance to change. They're resistant to change. And what is it? It's the victim of past decision. So they're playing, in essence, victim because of a prior decision. That's what the resistance is. So there's a book called The War of Art. Not the art of war, but the war of art. And in it, he talks about this almost invisible force field. Resistance. It's hard. It's difficult to change. It's difficult to start drawing. It's difficult to write a book. It's difficult to do these things, right? And he names it the resistance. And I was looking at it and I was like, wait a minute, what really is it? A person chose something at some point, like I need a job. And so they go out and they get a job and they get into a routine. And then they're offered something that could potentially be better. And then they say, okay, and they sign up. And then they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm frustrated. I don't know. This resistance thing. But what is it really? It's because he's got comfort sitting over here in his current habits and routine. It's the same thing in a diet. If you're trying to lose weight, is that you made earlier decisions. That's your comfort. And you're resistant to not eat the chocolate or the sugar or the whatever it is. That is the resistance. And it's just simply a prior decision. And you're now playing victim to it. But it's your decision. It was your decision back there. And it still is your decision here. Okay, so that's one of those things where you're playing a game in your own mind. You know, you got this, you want to lose weight and you walk into this buffet and over there's the dessert area and you're like, I better not go over there, right? And then you find yourself over there and you're like, who brought me over here, right? So as you're playing that game with your mind. All right, so this is the main discussion, and I don't want for you to lose that this is really what I'm talking about. So you have today. You may not have 10 years. You may not have 5 years or 1 year or 3 quarters or 2 quarters or 1 quarter or a week. Tomorrow's never promised. And so don't worry down that line. It stops right here. Like I'm always focused on week to week. That is always like the way I sprint. I know where I'm going, but I'm on a sprint on a week. Okay? But I can't do anything about tomorrow. And so today, in this moment, okay? Now, a moment ago was the past. A moment ago. Now, I have a question. Where do they, whoever they are, put history? Is there a continent where they put all history? So where does it live? Where does history live? Nowhere. There isn't a place for history. It is in your mind. Okay? You can go to an ancient city. You can see old Colosseums there. And so you knew somebody was here before. And so that's kind of like what we assign as history. But when you really look at it, we can't change a thing about the past. All we can do is learn from it and what success looks like throughout generations or something. Okay? It's basically worthless, is what I'm trying to say. Unless, right, so you have history and you can learn some things about how tyranny takes place. You can learn some things about, how food was developed and things like that. Okay. So, but other than that, for you, it's not very valuable. So over here is where your excuse manufacturing machine is at full speed most of the time. So, I got bad genes. I was abused as a child. Spouse left me, bullied. Nobody loves me. I failed school. I was fired. I was downsized. This is victim of the past. Okay? So I've experienced about all of those. So what? Doesn't matter. It's yesterday. It's in history, wherever that continent is. Okay? So all we got is today. Right now, in the moment. Okay, so when you start, these lines represent strong resistance. And the reason being is that you're forming new habits. I don't know. That's a phrase that you keep on seeing in front of you. Awkward, confusion, okay? And I draw this because of an experience that I had in school where I didn't know, literally, how to do school. And so I would get confused, and the only solution that I had was to raise my hand, and if the teacher didn't call on me, then I never got that solved, right? And the professor went on. And so really didn't get it. I didn't understand it. And so then anytime I would try to study something later, like diving physics or explosive physics, I really have a hard time. And I found out that I was actually leaning back. I didn't want to study. And so I was carrying this resistance with me. And it's of no value. So that's the reason I drew this person leaning backwards. All right. So let's move to the next one. And this is just an arbitrary up here that it's the first quarter. Okay. So we still have resistance. So this is strong resistance. This is resistance. So it's minimizing a little bit. What we're doing is we're implementing and executing. So there's making change, right? So you'll make the steps. I'm going to change this and this and this and this. Or I need to do this, this, and this, and this. But I've never done it before. So you got to implement and execute that. And that's one of the primary things. People make a goal with weight, and then they depend on one thing, their self-discipline. And that is tough. Yes, you can get through it, but it's tough. It's grit. I would rather put processes in place. Okay? So implementing and executing, and what's happening? It's not working. 0 sales. And there is your valley of despair. Okay? So that was a video that I did just before. All right. So he's still leaning backwards, right? He's implemented and started to try to execute, but he's certainly not smiling. All right. Then we move over and we've got mild resistance, refinement, reduction of useless actions. So while they were implementing, they saw that there were some things that they were spending too much time on and it was useless. And so they began to just reduce wasteless activities and actions, okay? And then what they found is it works sometimes. 1 out of 20 or 1 out of 30 prospects say yes. Okay? So now the person is kind of a bit in doubt. It kind of works, but not really, right? So sometimes works. Keeps on going, and we have new habit is formed. It's optimized. Works frequently. 1 in 10. Now the person is leaning forward. All right, that's more of a run. Hey, wow, 1 in 10, gosh, look how much money I can make with this. He's got confidence, got capacity to constantly make changes. All right, and that was from the last video that I talked about. So once you move through this thing and you get in the habit of moving through this stuff, you build capacity and super confidence. That is the only way you have confidence. When you see a child, a kid, or something like that that doesn't have confidence, it is always because he doesn't have confidence in his abilities. Okay? And the only way you get confidence in your ability is to push through the resistance of change, or just never even look at it as a resistance. Just say, this is just what we're doing. Okay? All right, and then you get out here, and I said these are arbitrary, and I'll give you something in just a second. So you're earning money, you end up coming up with brilliant ideas. Why can you come up with brilliant ideas? Because you know what you're talking about. You know what the scene is. You've talked to enough prospects to actually have really great ideas because you've experienced from the people that matter the most. You get some person who goes through marketing and then they go and work for a company and they are in charge of marketing, but they've never talked to a prospect. They're almost useless. Okay? The real heart, the real ability to serve has to do with the interaction between the prospect and yourself. And so I've heard people say, and I even thought it, well, I don't know anything about marketing. the best way to learn about marketing is listen. Like, listen to the prospect. What are their pains? What keeps them up at night? What would they be doing if they didn't have to have this job? Right? Like, all of these kinds of things. Now you have the right to even communicate to them about a business. Okay? So, like, I'm in the weight loss space. And so it's like, when I talk to somebody, it's like, well, what have you tried before? What didn't work? 10 different things. Well, then maybe it's not what he was trying to implement. Maybe it was that he didn't have a process to implement, you see? And so that's how I can really serve. All right. So now, this over here, I'm going to start here. Focus and concentration. What you focus and concentrate on, you will get. So when you're sitting right here, if you keep looking at the comfort, that's where you're going. And then you're just going to go into that cycle where you just consistently are looking at new things, getting an idea, saying, I'd like to do that, and then jumping back over here at the comfort zone. Okay, so you'll quit this idea, even if you tried it. You quit it and go back over to your comfort. Okay? All right. So what you focus and concentrate on, you will get. Quality and quantity of actions determines time. So when I said that these numbers up here, these dates, are arbitrary, that's what I meant, is because a lot of people have asked me, Tim, how could you hit $60,000 a month part-time and then $151,000 a month by my 5th year? What did I do? That's the question that I have. How can you do that in such a short period of time? And I've always made the comment, time is not it. Quit thinking time. If you think time, then you're really in the wrong gutter. Okay? It's, like in a bowling alley or something like that. You're in the wrong gutter, right? You're thinking about not what I ever think about. What you should be thinking about is quality and quantity of actions. That is leads across the pipeline, okay? Because this right here, there is just nothing quite like that breaks resistance when you get a hello, and you're like, hi, and you begin to try to have that first part of that conversation. It's awkward, okay? I don't know what to say. That's what I mean by this. But once you've done that 10 times, 15 times, 25 times, 200 times, 2,000 times, then does it really have to do with time? A person can sit in network marketing for 15 years and put 10 people across the pipeline. So it's not time. It's quantity. All right? And then after every single call, you do an assessment, an after action look at what you did well and what you can do better at. And if you do that, you're going to continually get quality into your world. Okay? Sorry, that was you're going to get quality into your world. And so then it's going to cut down time. And quantity, you can't avoid it. All right, I've given you my numbers in another video about the quantity, like how many I do in order to build teams of $100,000 a year, like multiple ones and stuff like that. So over here in the comfort, it is small return, high effort. Okay, so this area right here is small return until you get through it. All right. So high effort to change. You're going to have a lot of effort. Here, you have a high return in terms of having. You have money. You have brilliant ideas. You have communication skills. You have presentation skills. You're focused on serving. It doesn't matter what you ever do. This skill set will pay you and reward you more than anything else. Okay? Because you are the closest person to the customer, and that always makes you the most valuable player in a company, in any kind of company. Okay, so if you got that, and so to me, it is absolutely worth that effort here, because it doesn't take that long. We're not talking about a 12-year degree to get to a doctor, which the person's going to be working all of the time and can't a whole lot of times take off, right? Or a lot of positions where you go through a lot of school. I didn't go through any school. This is my school. And then I found out, wow, I can make millions and millions and millions, and I can have others make millions. And that's what doctors don't do. Okay, so anyway, I just really think it's worth the effort. And I will give you another quote from Vince Lombardi. He was, when I was growing up, he was somebody that I greatly admired. That and another football coach, Bear Bryant. And so Vince Lombardi, he says, winning is a habit. Watch your thoughts. They become your beliefs. Watch your beliefs. They become your words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. And that has to do with whether or not you are going to always be moving towards your comfort. And so when I said focus and concentration, whatever you're focusing, concentrated on, you will get. That's what I was talking about over here, is that if you look back over at comfort and that's where you side, then that's what you're going to get. Okay, so the more that you look at it, the more you say, I'm going to look at my vision, then you're going to be moving through the resistance. All right, and so that's what that had to do with. All right, so what is your experience of change in network marketing? Some of you may have been all the way through it now, but I just want to get an idea from you, the listener, like what is that change for you? Okay, what was it like? And then like, share, and comment to this, and subscribe if you feel like doing so. I really appreciate you watching.